First of all, is there any difference in repeating the same thing twice? So we did some sessions in the morning around 2 sectors and did some 2 sessions in the afternoon. So does repetition improve engagement, once people have understood?
When we passed the constitution, we decided to split up shughuli za serikali. Government functions were broken up. We have some at the county and we have some at the national level. So when you're preparing a county budget, you have to make sure you are budgeting for functions that are given to counties. When you're planning for the national government and budgeting for it, you have to make sure you are putting in money into functions that belong to the national government for 2 big reasons. The first one is the one that Lucas has touched on. If you, for example, as a county, you decide to put money into security, probably the national government is also doing something on security and there's a risk of double allocation. Or in some cases, there's a risk of you will build a police station, but the national government had not planned to bring any policemen to your police station. So you end up with a shell of a building.
People given time and the right kind of information can actually contribute to a discussion. And they don't need to know the granular details. They don't need to know every last detail of things. But for instance, we had the sectors that we were having debates around this time, education and infrastructure, and whether to invest more in capital development or in human development. People had ideas, and they were all speaking from the context that they were working from.
When you'll be deciding about how to share money between those 2 sectors, the decision that also you have to make among your groups is what do you think is the right route for development? Is it about developing human capacity or is it about developing the physical infrastructure? Infrastructure has a big role in opening up the country, making connection easier and making it easier for people to do business, to move around and so on. So a lot of what we do under infrastructure is building our physical infrastructure, the capacity of a country physically. Do you have a transport system that works? Sekta ya elimu kazi yake ni kutengeneza wananchi ambao wanaweza kushughulikia zile challenges ambazo tuko nazo kama nchi. You are building the capacity of a country in terms of its human labor.
And I'm also trying to look at this very department in terms of is it the 4 pillars that the national government is currently talking about?
The big 4.
The big 4. Housing is part of it. So if you're looking at it, it was 1 billion. Maybe in the next budget, it's going to be even 20.
Why?
I'm just saying.
And what is wrong if it is 20? At what point do we have the shilling being strong? So to me, those are factors. And of course, okay, that is positive factors. But there could also be other factors.
Then why was it allocated the following year?
Yes.
The reason is, one of the things that the national has not done, or the national government has not done well, however much they have transferred functions, but they don't follow it.
They just probably.
Are you understanding? They have transferred functions, but they've not transferred
the funds.
Resources.
Yes. So probably the first round of allocation, the assumption was money to afford it. And that is why so many of these governors were like, we put affordable houses, which they never did. The national government have done very well in terms of purporting to have transferred what? Functions. But they've not transferred what? Resources. So, my thinking is this. I have 2 schools of thoughts. First, and this is a political thought anyway, the first 5 years people were putting up structures. That's very political. People were putting structures to be functional. And probably that is why they never did what? They never put money for that.
When you look at the State Department for Petroleum, then we have the State Department for Energy. Actually, these 2 sectors that are started duplicating themselves.
So what in it?
Because when you look at this one, exploration and distribution of oil and gases, then you look at the other one up there, general administration, planning and support services, given 1 billion. Exploration of oil and gases given 5 billion. Could these 2 things be merged into one? That's an all-encompassing. Power generation is there, that is exploration. If we use wind energy,
other
sources of energy.
sources of energy.
So at least maybe they'll give us details of this, but you have a bit of duplication of roles in this too.
We have two functions in education sector that are devolved. We have the ECD and the youth polytechnic. Has the county government done enough to improve these two devolved programs of education? The little that the county government is getting, are they doing enough with that small they are getting to improve? I'm talking out of experience in this because I see the situation of my ECD school back at home.
At the deliberative stage, I remember there were instances where there was a lot of counter reasoning and counter debating, where people were trying to give justifications for allocating certain amount of money to a project. And these are the kind of things that we need to expect in a deliberative session, which usually does not happen in public participation forums, because the argument is that people often in groups, or when people are learning in groups, people do not really, you will find people who are very dominant in terms of discussion, and they might be able to kind of make other people who are not dominant make their reasons not heard.
Increased interest of development partners to support the three departments: Department of Social Protection, special program, that is issues on food security, the bracket nazaka USAID hapo kwa hiyo alafu weapons, equipping security, that's modern security equipment, alafu tena because of increased crimes, kwa sababu ya increased crimes, that's why expansion of new prison stations, sindio, for rehabilitation.
Because of increased crimes.
Because of increased crime, the establishment of more prison cells. Tena kitu yenye na affect mambo ya petitions, petitions. So that's why IBC have to conduct some by-elections. Increased corruption in both levels of government. So EACC wanataka pay more funds. That's independent commissions generally. Increased security personnel, so police officers, so basically that incentives to age persons.
Allocation yake ni 70%.
Yes, tunasema 70%.
Alafu services.
Why we have maintained
and why we have reduced.
Yeah, why we have reduced.
I think the best thing is to vote. To decide on the proportion, which proportion we want to. That's how we break the tie. So that as a parliament here of 40 people,
you need to get someone to second your opinion.
All those percentages, I think we need to give an average on all of them and then come to a consensus. Better still, we can employ George Collins's option of voting.
Statistics ask it that 75% of young people released from universities and tertiary institutions are not employed. That means only 25% of young people are employed in this country. The rest of the unemployed young people are in the informal sector. I'm so much concerned about this. If you look at education and the energy sectors, the energy sector absorbs a lot of young people because it has a lot of informal sectors. A lot of young people who are released from the learning institutions are directly absorbed in this other department. or in this other sector. So we should put more effort and resources in the energy infrastructure and ICT. Just as the same as we should put enough resources for education. These sectors are very
important. That we need as a country is whereby kind of market-driven kind of education. Because honestly speaking, what you need in life is only how to read, write, and speak. Then you can be able to sell anything. You can make it your way in life. Not everybody can be employed in an office. And not in an office, that's the only place that you can make money. You can make money in the street and you can make money anywhere. So what we need as a country, as we wrap up, is that we need basic education, but I will go with the infrastructure, 70% education.
We find that in the previous year, education was given 47% and EII was given 53%. And EII only used 75% of what it was given. Why would we give somebody more money when he cannot spend it or he doesn't need it? And education spends 95% and only needs 5%, which means maybe there is a rule that the account must have something remaining. Only 5% they left. Then I think that instead of giving education less percentage, like it was given 47% in the previous year, it should be given 55%, then this EII should be given 45%, which to my opinion should even be reduced, because they don't need much money.
On the report, page 17, the MDAs and the program details, each department, all the departments, they need expertise. And this expertise only comes from education. And when we look at education provides for basic knowledge of language, basic knowledge of our environment, knowledge of innovations. You get to travel, you get to exchange, you get to learn from other places. And all of this can be gotten from attaining a basic education, from a basic to skill-based education. So all these departments cannot be in existence because I don't see a department where you don't need somebody who's educated. Even if someone said there is the informal sector, which constitutes of people who are not educated, but I need to educate you pro bono that those people are aided by people who are educated. I may be working at a construction company as a person who draws water for the builders. There should be a mason, there should be somebody who did the plan. So without those people who actually attained an education, that building cannot be in one piece. So don't just look at the people who are in the informal sector for having not been educated. I'm supporting education for such reasons.
And education should get 60. More for education?
Yeah, for education 60.
Okay, that's one.
How many are for 60 for energy and 40 for education? 7? How many are for 30 for energy, 70 for education? Just one.
Yes.
I'm surprised you don't manage to convince another person.
You know, the security in governance and justice, law and order, that's a very big topic. But I think also to be emphasized on our culture, let's go there to fight for our culture and education. Culture goes if we didn't lose our culture, we wouldn't be having all these problems. You see, we will support that. So.
And now you see for social protection may involve gender.
Obviously, no one who is not affected, and yet cultural, all everybody in the society is okay. So when you come to this Unajua saizi justice mi hatoroki na wazo nyingi sasa kukaitoa hainyagiria mwele.
So if you know about how to promote equality agenda, how to respect children's rights, obviously justice ndio hiyo imeshaingia. So I think social protection should have the largest.
Tuipea ni 70. Tuipea 70.
Hapo kwa mambo ya broadcasting and telecommunication. Broadcasting and telecommunication. Maendeleo yake. Ninashangaa, okay, for KBCs, sina nini. Lakini nimeshangaa.
Exactly, hata mimi pia nilikuwa nimekuwa
kila ndo mobile cinema shows za nini. And we already have the national broadcaster. So watumie hiyo mara moja. Nyingine tena yenye nimeiangalia hapo kwa petroleum. Kwa mambo ya exploration na nini. I think because it is something that imeingia Kenya na kitu yenye inaweza kutusaidia especially sisi kama watu ingeongezewa nini hela. It's like wamekea talo zigo yao. Wana talo saizi the community are demanding more from them. Na hata hawajaanza kuimagine government ingewasaidia sana. So at least because it is something that is going to help the whole of the country, ingepatiwa at least allocation money nzuri.
Unajua with primary education, primary education ndio backbone ya learning. Haki ndio backbone ya learning kabisa. Lakini unaona unapata wamewekewa pesa kidogo sana. Compared to hizi vitu zingine. Compare na university. Compare na university. Sasa wanataka kudevelop mtu wa juu wakati wamemuua hapa chini.
Na wanataka na yansia kwa
wanataka kuanzia
na foundation na secondary education sector standards.
Gani
education education standard and quality assurance. Na vitu zingine hata ndio naona leo the Pan African Universities national education in Kenya.
All of you know that the censoring period 10 years ago did not budget for the 1,000 students that have come in due to that school. Was it Tomboya? Yes. So that would mean if there are more students, there's more housing, the town grows, and with the poor waste management system we have in this county, that would mean that there's improper littering, there's burning, which is impacting on us. Especially in matters of climate change. So the e-waste management mechanisms, it is an emerging issue because in a very direct way it affects us. There's environmental degradation. So the mechanisms should be put in place to curb such things. We should not prioritize on infrastructure, and we are not looking at what infrastructure can do to us. In as much as it has its good, it also affects us as a people.
Some of the main activities here include payment of teachers, free primary education, issuing student loan, maintaining low-cost boarding school and mobile schools. It's from the fees from the universities, the examination council and others. The State Department of Basic Education receives most of the grants and loans from other sectors. That is also source of AIA.
We did focus on a smaller part of the budget this time round. And one thing we noticed that the discussions around the reasons that people give and the justifications and adequacy of those reasons was actually definitely broadly done this time. Well, it was done at a deeper level than in the first time. So it then brings us to the question of, as we are thinking of how we can improve public engagement, do we need to say something about engagement in the whole budget, or is the public more effective when it's engaging with a smaller set, right? So it's more of the discussion of, do we go sector-wise? So where the public is able to, the people are able to select what sectors they want to engage in, then they're able to engage better there. Or do we still stick with where you call people into one big room and they have to look at the whole budget and say something about the whole budget? So in a way, the two rounds of the public deliberations we did actually looked at both sides. And so we are hoping that the analysis will give us an idea about, did people discuss, engage better with the first round where they looked at the whole budget, or the second round where they just looked at a certain section of the budget.